Hi, I'm Irene Tansman, author of Abe and Arlene's Autism War. If you have a loved one enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, or you are considering rehabilitation for your loved one with autism and/or intellectual disability, or you yourself are enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. In one of my previous videos, I explained that vulnerable populations are easier to manipulate and control than non-vulnerable populations. You can see how that could happen. Controllers tend to gravitate towards occupations that will give them what they want: control. While there are many folks helping vulnerable populations that are in these occupations for the right reasons, we need to be on the lookout for those folks who aren't in it for the right reasons. I will place a link to my previous video on this subject in the YouTube description. Today, I'd like to talk to you about this book, Stolen by Elizabeth Gilpin. This is a memoir written by an actress, writer, and producer who was placed in a boarding school for troubled teens. While troubled teens is a different population than the intellectual and developmental disability population I normally talk about, I find it extremely interesting that some of the same tactics that Bettelheim used in the school he ran were the same or similar to those used at the Carlbrook school, the school Gilpin attended. For those of you who don't know, Bettelheim is the man largely responsible for promoting the poor mothering as the cause of autism theory, otherwise known as the refrigerator mother theory. While Dr. Leo Kanner first discovered the syndrome of autism and flirted with this theory, Kanner later recanted his belief in the theory that poor mothering causes autism. Bettelheim continued to promote the bad mothering as the cause of autism throughout his career. So let's look at a few of the tactics that the Carlbrook school, the Bettelheim school, and many other cult-like schools and programs have in common. Some of my information about Bettelheim comes from the excellent book by Richard Pollack titled The Creation of Dr. B, a biography of Bruno Bettelheim. First, I'd like to talk about removing parental involvement. Bettelheim blamed parents for the issues that his students experienced. That was convenient for him. He dictated that the parents be removed from the equation. He decided whether and when students were ready to have contact with their parents. Many students were prohibited from visiting their parents. According to their website today, the school it seems like it's a different school than it was in Bettelheim's day. But Bettelheim's former school, the orthogenic schools, now named the O School, does encourage parental involvement. I'm glad to see that they've changed in that respect, but they have not yet condemned Bettelheim's theory, blaming mothers for their children's autism, even to this day. That is, even though we have scientific proof that this is not the case. The condition of autism is largely believed by healthcare professionals, and there have been studies, and there have been control matched brain tissue that show that the difference in the brains happen prenatally, that is before they're born. So we have some scientific proof that poor mothering does not cause autism. And it's largely accepted that poor mothering does not cause autism. And in fact, the school actually lauds Bettelheim on their website. They don't condemn the Bettelheim theory. The Carlbrook school monitored phone calls and letters that Gilpin and others wrote to their parents. The school also decided when it was okay for Gilpin to visit her parents. It was clear from Gilpin's account the school brainwashed her parents into thinking the school was helping her. However, Gilpin's account was crystal clear. The school was traumatizing her, not helping her. Gilpin did visit her parents at one point. However, at the point the visit occurred, the parents strongly believed they were doing the right thing for their daughter and would not listen to Gilpin's painful accounts of the school. In other words, the brainwashing had taken over. Many programs for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities try to remove parental involvement. I've seen many programs use HIPAA as an excuse to shut out parents out of observing a program. I've seen programs shut parents out of all sorts of meetings and decisions. And now I'd like to talk about poor boundaries. Both Bettelheim School and the Carlbrook School had a cult-like atmosphere. The leaders could not be questioned. The rules of the school could not be questioned. Questioning or not obeying was met with punishment. According to Gilpin, in the Carlbrook School, the poor boundaries led to an array of physical and verbal abuse and some questionable inappropriate behavior bordering on sexual behavior, such as a male adult counselor encouraging a teenage Gilpin to sit on his lap. Bettelheim believed students needed to remove shame associated with their bodies. Therefore, students were required to dress, undress, and bathe with Bettelheim and staff watching. The students had no privacy. Many of the students were past puberty. Female students who were later interviewed claimed that Bettelheim sexually abused them. Bettelheim also beat the students. Counselors surely would have seen the welts while the students were bathing. They knew about the lack of personal privacy. Some of these counselors believed that Bettelheim was the guru and that he knew best. They just accepted whatever he did and said. They trusted his judgment more than their own. Nobody should be beyond reproach when dealing with a vulnerable population. If gurus and their followers believe that they cannot or should not be questioned, abuse is more possible. I've personally experienced programs that refuse to work with privately hired behaviorists, speech therapists, neurologists, and other professionals. These programs believe that they know it all, so they don't need to listen to others, and that they should never be questioned. I want to say a word here about compliance. Many schools and programs for autism and or intellectual and developmental disabilities emphasize compliance. The Carlbrook School also emphasized compliance. There were punishments doled out to those who did not comply. However, the school taught Gilpin nothing about making good choices. So it is no surprise she made some poor choices when she finally graduated from Carlbrook. It really doesn't matter whether we're talking about very impaired, intellectually disabled individuals, or we're talking about a very clever and talented Elizabeth Gilpin. Too much emphasis on compliance does not help any type of individual make choices or communicate what their choices are. The book, A Memoir, Stolen by Elizabeth Gilpin, is a beautifully written book that held my attention throughout. I couldn't put it down. That alone would give me reason to rate it 5 stars. However, the book is a cautionary tale about a very important topic. The topic alone would also give me reason to rate it 5 stars. Therefore, I rate this very important memoir beyond 5 stars, and I recommend that everyone read it. I hope my video has been helpful to you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.